Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today, we have a bit of a unique one, bit of a special one for you. In my recent 20,000 sub AMA Ask Me Anything video, one of the most popular questions was, who's your favorite knife designer? One of the other most popular questions was, who's the most innovative knife company out there right now? And after thinking for a minute, the answer to both is probably Andrew Demko. So I wanted to do a little ode to Andrew Demko video. I have done an ode to specific knives before. I did the 940, the PM2, like some true classics. But I think old Andrew deserves one of his own. I say old Andrew, I think he's my age. But anywho, I'm old too. But yeah, he has touched the knife community in ways that you're not even gonna know. If you are a Cold Steel fan, then you're an Andrew Demko fan. He has designed a lot of their knives. Some of them are out here. He has also just designed the Triad Lock, which is kind of Cold Steel's thing that put them on the map. It is almost undoubtedly the strongest locking mechanism in a pocket knife, and that was his jam. So even if it's not credited as an Andrew Demko design, if it's got that Triad Lock, it came from him. Knives like, for instance, and these he may have designed these, because sometimes they don't say his name on them, but he did actually design them. But ones that I don't know for certain that he designed, like the Code 4, the S35 VN, about $80, one of the best EDC pocket knives that has ever been made. It's got that Triad Lock. You have stuff like the Recon 1, also one of the best, like, big tactical folders. Again, pretty reasonably priced, around $100. I've never seen him credited with designing the Recon 1, but I for some reason in my brain, I kind of think he did, but I'm not really sure. But anyway, still got that Triad Lock. You know, the bigger silly stuff, still got that Triad Lock. This is a Counterpoint XL, which will not fit on the camera. He's even the knives that he is not credited with the full design, he has definitely touched. That Triad Lock definitely put Cold Steel on the map, and I'm a big Cold Steel fan. I wasn't when I first started this channel, and man, I've gone down that rabbit hole now. It happens to a lot of people. People say, I'm not really a Cold Steel guy, but then you get one, and they do have a tendency to multiply like rabbits. He doesn't just do Cold Steels. He also does his own in-house stuff, which we'll get to towards the end of this video. I have two of them. Love them to death. A lot more expensive, but very, very cool. Let's talk about some of his designs. First of all, this is one that they don't credit him as having designed it on the websites or anything, but I know I watched a video of him explaining how he designed it, so I know that he did. This is the Cold Steel Airlight, one of the best budget knives of 2020, I would say. Aust 10A, this is the Tanto version, very lightweight, very slim, very easy to carry. You're looking at about $75, not bad at all. I'm not going to give prices on everything. I'm going to try to when I remember as this goes through, but really, really, really cool knife. As I said, very lightweight, carries great. It's one of these knives I've characterized as being better than the sum of its parts. You know, the Aust 10A isn't that impressive. The price isn't that impressive. The other stats aren't that impressive, but man, once you get one in hand, it's just a fantastic freaking knife. You kind of think maybe Andrew knows what he's doing. Maybe. Next up, of course, this is one of the channel's kind of mascots, and I haven't brought it out in months. This is the Cold Steel American Lawman. This was my first Cold Steel. Really, really cool knife. It's just, again, right around $100. This is an older XHP model with the hollow grind. I think they're flat ground with S35 VN now, but still right around $100, a little less. Super ergonomic, just very, very comfortable, very dirty also. Wow. Clean your knives, Brian, before you make videos. But yeah, it's just a very ergonomic knife, just a fantastic knife, and one that I should carry more. But like I said, it's kind of gone into that mascot status because I can't say the name without singing it. The American Lawman, and it's just a great freaking knife. I think one of his best overall designs ever for an EDC kind of knife. For just an everyday carry knife, this is probably, I think, his piece de resistance. It's fantastic. Very lightweight. Next up, these next two kind of epitomize a lot of the stuff that he's doing with Cold Steel lately. So he'll make his customs and his mid-techs, and then Cold Steel will make a version of them. We're going to do these in reversed order because this was one of the first ones. I say the Formax is probably one of the first ones of that. The Formax was a custom, and now it became a fairly expensive for a Cold Steel. with 20 CV and G10 and all that stuff. And it was a really great knife, but they were $400 or so. Then they came out with this $120 Formax Scout version, which is what got me going down the Formax train. Yeah, $120. Aust 10A again, Grivery handles, but man, it's a really usable knife. I know it's freaking huge. Formax means trying to get the most out of a 4-inch blade. It's 10.2 ounces. It is very heavy in the pocket, but other than that, it is not bad at all to carry. I actually carry this at least a couple times a month. I got a lot of knives. It's just a really great, indestructible, again with that triad lock, the toughest thing in the business. It's just an indestructible knife, and I just really, really like it. It's got this little pin in it, and you can stick something in there to, make sure it doesn't fall down. It's a kind of funny story. I did see Demko explain what that is. It was he had to send a knife to Lynn Thompson, the head of Cold Steel, and he was going to immediately take it out on some safari or something like that. And he wanted to make sure that the boss's knife wasn't going to fail, as he said. So he put a little pin in there so you could stick a pin in there to make sure that it wasn't going to fold shut on you. It's a triad lock. That wasn't going to happen anyway, but still, I thought that's a neat little story. I don't think the holes fit those pins anymore that it was intended for. It was in a specific pin. But anyway, that's why it's there. So a little bit of history there. I saw Andrew say it. So I love the Formax, especially in the Scout. I don't have the regular one anymore. I dyed it purple and then I gave it away to you guys. But it's still, the Scout is just awesome. Get one of these. Of all the knives I'm going to show you, you're going to think this is the one you want the least, but it's going to bring a smile to your face every time you pick it up. And 2020, we all need a little more smiles in our lives. That's absolutely for sure. Another one is the 8010. The 8010 is, again, a knife that he made as a custom for a long time. It came out as a cold steel. A very, very faithful reproduction, I do have to say. S35 VN. And I have held a production, a custom 8010. And this is really, really close to it for a fraction of the cost. You're looking at right around $200. I see them on sale for $180 a few places right now. But it's just a great, again, good beefy knife. Not quite as beefy as the Formax, but it's close. It can see it from where it's standing. And even more carryable. Again, has the little pen protection thing in it, but which no one will ever use, and you're not really intended to. It's more just a design thing now. But ergos are awesome. You can choke up on it. But I love the 8010 as well. This is one that if I could find one of the mid-tech ones, I don't know if he did a machine ground version of this. I would probably, I'll explain what that means in a moment when we get to the customs. I would probably go for one of those. I might pop on one of those because I do like the Demko in-house ones a little bit, and I would like to have, a Formax and this someday. Not a priority, but someday it'd be cool to have those two. Another knife that he designed. This is one that I don't think he never did as custom. This is just pure silliness. I do still have this. It is sold. I'm sending it off to a buddy that you will see. A much better video than mine will be, but I have to bring it in Death Star over Yavin style. The Espada XL. This is definitely a Demko design. Just pure silliness. That's what this is. And that's perfectly fine. That's part of the reason why Cold Steel exists and part of the reason why I love them. They do stupid better than anybody else does. And Andrew is one of their enablers. And I think that's fantastic. Now, onto the actual Demko knives. If you go to Demko Knives, .com, his actual knives that he makes that are, full customs, or in this case, I call these mid-techs. They're both have machine ground blades. They're the slightly less expensive versions. It's more expensive than the Cold Steel versions, but not as pricey as the full customs. This is the 8015, which Cold Steel does make a very, very, very good, version of. But this is one of the mid-tech versions made actually by Demko Knives. It has a very unique scorpion lock, and now we're getting to the reason why I would put him as most innovative, because his lock designs are just nuts. I mean, the triad lock was a big revolution, and that's what he's known for, but he does not stick with one lock design. He definitely changes it up, and I think that is awesome. The Scorpion lock, really cool. You can see it has like a lock bar up here, and just drops. Now again, this is an actual Demko. It's a little smoother than the Cold Steel one, but not dramatically. And I think if I would have bothered to keep an actual Cold Steel one and really used it and abused it for a long time, it would probably break in and be just as smooth as this. But this one is that smooth, just as it is. I did buy this used. I did miss out on it. I rarely buy used knives, honestly. If I buy a used knife, it's because I really, 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 really want it. So that says something that I bought one of these used, and I love it. This is the micarta version, and the noise it makes. Just that little bit of a ring. Again, the Cold Steel version, looking at what, a couple $100 again, about the same as the 8010, and it is a very, very close reproduction of this, and not reproduction, I can't even call it that, a close licensed version of this. The G10's very aggressive. If there's one downside I have to them, I've had two of them, and both of them I pulled the pocket clip off and sanded down that little landing spot immediately, because they are pocket destroyers if you don't do that. But other than that, a pretty accurate reproduction. Not as nice in materials. You've got titanium lock bar on this, and you have the micarta handles, and instead of G10 and stainless. Maybe it's titanium on the, might be titanium on the production one. This is 20 CV steel instead of the S35 VN. And yeah, fit and finish is just a hair better, but it's really, that's one thing that I think Demko is very brave about. When he lets Cold Steel make a version of his knives, he doesn't hold them back. I've seen some custom designers, let companies make production versions of their knives, and they intentionally hold them back a little bit. They don't want them to outshine their versions. Demko is not that way. Especially the 8010, how close it is to a production or to a custom version is shocking. And same with this, it's really close. I don't see a lot of other designers having the balls to do that. But the piece de resistance, and probably the darling of 2020, I would say this is I don't want to call it a hype knife because that's insulting it, but I would say, yeah, the darling of 2020 amongst all of us YouTubers is the new 8020 with the new shark lock. And it is just, it's fantastic. I mean, if it does not win Knife of the Year for 2020, the only reason would be that they're a little hard to get. This is a machine ground version. They're $425. There is a full custom hand ground version that's like $800. So for me, it wasn't worth the money. I had to get the full on one. So I got because I've used this thing a lot. This is 3V steel. You can get it in 3V or 20 CV. The ergos are great. The blade is great. But yeah, the main point of it is this shark lock. It's really cool. It has a lot of the same principles as the triad lock, but you can activate it like this. And it falls, it runs on bearings. You can spidey flick it. You can thumb flick it. You can use the thumb stud. It's just like a big old bruiser knife that is A, really fidgety, and B, not really that much of a big old bruiser. It carries well. The blade is actually useful. It actually slices things. It's a brute, but it's not a capital B brute. It's like, like if you were the henchman of a supervillain, but you actually, really liked it when you had to take your boss to the opera. It would be kind of that kind of guy. He's educated, but he's a bit of a brute. That's what I would call this. It's just a fantastic freaking knife in every possible way. They make it in a full titanium, which is way more expensive, and I wish I had one. Metal Complex got one, and I'm so jealous of him. But yeah, and I have two reasons: his subscriber count and his 8020. No other reasons, just those two. But yeah, it's 8020 is just such a fantastic freaking knife. By the way, Metal Complex, yes, you may have a better Demko than me, but I have two. So yeah, we're always in quiet competition with one another. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. And Andrew, I'm going to send a link this to you. I hope you see it. You were very, very nice to me at Blade Show. You actually came up and said hi to me, and I didn't realize who you were, and kind of big timed you for a second before I realized who you were, and I still feel so bad about that. But You do great stuff, and I think people need to realize more that like how Cold Steel is. It wouldn't be Cold Steel without Andrew Demko or your brother John. Great. John used to work there as well, and John's who I actually usually deal with when I was talking about getting the 80/20 and stuff. Just very cool brothers, very cool company, and yeah, if you're looking at stepping into that mid-techy, custom-y kind of range, the prices on Demkos are not that insane, and especially like since it's new, the 80/20 is popping up on dealers every now and then. Your favorite retailer everywhere may actually have one, so keep an eye out for them. I think if you like kind of a beefier knife, I think this is a great kind of gateway into that mid-tech, slightly less expensive custom-y sort of range. They are just awesome knives. And these the 8015s still haven't gone insane on the secondary market. 8010s have a little bit. 8010s are custom 8010s in the secondary. I've looked, they're a little high. Same with the Formaxes, they're a little high. But 8015s are still pretty relatively accessible on the secondary. I think they were $650 new. I paid $500 for this one. I'll just say what I paid for it. I wasn't going to, but yeah, whatever. I paid $500 for it, and that's what the guy was asking, and I just paid for it. I didn't try to negotiate or anything. And that's pretty average. You're looking at, between $500 and $800, depending on the options and stuff. This one isn't super optioned out, and it had a aftermarket edge, which even though it's an Apostle P edge, it's a great edge. That does lower the value a little bit. But anyway, I got off on a tangent there, but yeah, check out Andrew Demko's stuff, even if it's just the Cold Steels. Great guy, super nice, and just a freaking genius. So I just wanted to do a little, hey, love your stuff, Andrew video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.